Hello, Shannon here. I just wanted to do a short, quick video on some thoughts I had about the Jonah video, my last video that I made, and talk a little bit about the heart for a minute. Hoping not to make this video too long, but in the last video, if you watched it, we were talking about the livestock and the cattle, who I feel like represent those who were the sacrificial people in the land of Nineveh, and how God really wanted to come to their rescue. And I didn't discuss the fact that when Nineveh repented, what they were repenting for, and how that affects the livestock and the cattle that were there, and why it was so important that God make it clear to Jonah that they had a lot of livestock and cattle. And so, again, if you're the one laying your lives down and taking the blame, you're that livestock, you're that cattle, and you have the heart of God. You're basically laying it down so someone else can live. And so, but you're also waiting for God to come and rescue you and give you life again. And the only way that life happens is either you take it, or the person taking your life, or people, or systems, or whatever it is that you're laying your life down for, because they're demanding it, unless they repent and turn from what they're doing. To repent, we know, means to turn away from what you're doing. So that means you're going to stop. And when those people who are demanding the sacrifices of others in order for them to live, when they stop what they're doing and they return to living under the law of love, which means they're going to lay their lives down, and there's give and take when that happens, when everybody is doing that, then you're going to be able to live again. So I wanted to discuss how you know if you have a good heart or not. These people, the cattle and the livestock, those that were waiting on God to do something so that they can have life again, waiting and praying and hoping. And when you're doing that, you're, whoever in your life, whether it be your job, the people in your family, whoever it is that you're praying for, because maybe they don't have a heart of God, maybe they don't operate in the law of love, they don't lay down their lives, they take rather than giving. um Sorry, just a second, my computer's going crazy. um those people, you're praying for too, that they get the message. And that is if you have the right heart. Now, those who don't have a right heart, maybe they want revenge. They want to see the people get what they deserve, kind of like Jonah. He didn't want them to repent and have grace. He wanted them to get what they deserve. So, how do you know that you have the right heart? Because you just want people to stop the wrong that they're doing. You don't want them to suffer. If it's in the workplace, you don't want them to lose their job. You just want them to do what's right. If they're screwing you over or screwing a whole bunch of people over, you just want them to stop and get it right and do what's right and fair for everybody. If it's a sibling, or if it's a friend, or even if it's someone you don't know, if you have the right heart, if you operate in love, and yes, just because you operate in love doesn't mean you don't get irritated, that you don't get furious, angry, but the word says don't sin in your anger. It doesn't say it's wrong to be angry. There's a time for everything, including anger. It's just you don't want to sin while you are in anger. So to know that you have the right heart, you don't want revenge. You don't want to see somebody go through suffering and agony and pain, the same that they may have put you through. You don't want to see them go through that. You just want them to stop what they're doing and do what's right. This is how you know whether you have the right heart or not. Do you want people to get what you think that they deserve? Or do you just want them to get the message and repent and return to the law of love, loving others, putting others first? And I want to put in there that just because I'm saying the law of love doesn't mean I'm saying it's okay to break any laws. The physical law. Those who operate under the law of love try their best to keep the law, the physical law. The law was given to those who were considered wicked. And who are the wicked? Those who are going to break the law no matter what. Does that mean that people who operate under the law of love don't break the law? No, it doesn't. but it does mean that when they do break it, perhaps it's for another reason other than hate. It's, sometimes you have to choose between the highest law and a lesser law. And when that happens, you choose the highest law. But to people who don't see the difference between a spiritual law and a physical law, they can't see the reason why somebody might break a law. So, unless you have spiritual eyes to see the spiritual things going on, you're probably going to judge people by the physical eye. But the physical is not the whole truth. That's why faith is believing in what you don't see and not in what you do see, because the eyes do not tell the whole story. So again, the law of love includes everything. It's the highest law. Even the garden, she kept the highest law. She broke a lesser. She broke a physical law in her eating. She decided to consummate her marriage. That word eat in Hebrew means to consummate. It also means to consume and devour. One is physical, one is spiritual. Now, consume and devour can mean physical, but Adam consumed and devoured Eve with his words. That's spiritual. But Eve, she ate by consummating her marriage with Adam, flesh. She decided to become one with flesh, knowing that she would end up dying. Not just in the flesh, but spiritually, because spiritually, if we're walking in the way of love, we're laying it down spiritually. We're laying our lives down. We're not living in the flesh. We're laying that down so others can live. So, back to the cattle and the livestock. It was important to God that Nineveh repent so that the cattle, the livestock, who I believe represents spiritual Israel, because we were in Nineveh in this story, not Israel, I believe is everywhere. And so, with that being said, I believe that this is spiritual Israel that we are talking about. Those who have God within them. Spiritual Israel is those who have the God of spirit within them. Physical Israel, which doesn't just mean those who are physically in Israel, but those who operate in the fleshly nature, have with them the God of flesh. That's physical Israel. Two kinds of Israel. You don't want to be physical Israel. You want to be spiritual Israel. And, in future lessons, in future things that I discuss here, we will talk about those two and what that means. But for right now, I'm just making it clear, because I didn't make it clear in the last video, that I said that the livestock and the cattle referred to Israel. It's a metaphorical language that refers to God's people. And if you look in some of the other stories, when Moses was trying to get Pharaoh to let his people go, and they wanted to bring their livestock and cattle so they could sacrifice to their God. Again, it's referring to the same thing. Without that sacrifice, there's not going to be any life. There has to be somebody laying it down in order for there to be life. If everybody's trying to live at the same time, nobody's going to be living. It's going to be chaos. Everybody's going to be fighting with each other. So that's very, very important with that story. As far as the heart goes, if you have the right heart, if you just want people to stop their wrong. You don't want to see them suffer. You don't want to see them get what they've got coming. You just want to see them stop and acknowledge what they're doing is wrong and turn it around and do what's right for everybody involved. Enough people have suffered to the hands of people who are sacrificing others just so they can have life, be it at work. If somebody is refusing to do what's right for you at work because of their paycheck, because of their status, because of their position, you just want them to stop. Do what's right. Do what you've been asked to do, and just do it right. Nobody that with the right heart wants you to suffer. And you're not going to suffer if you just choose to do what's right. Same with siblings, same with friends, same with acquaintances. Sometimes we think all of our acquaintances are good people. Not necessarily. It takes a long time to see who people really are. You have to spend time with somebody and just really pay attention spiritually to who people are before you know who they are. Because a lot of people who are not on the up and up like to present themselves as though they are. And it takes sometimes 30 years to actually really truly recognize who somebody really is. And sometimes that can be a painful recognition, painful eyes being opened from being blind. But with that being said, I hope that you've been blessed by this and that you understand whether you really have a true heart of God or not. You should know. You know if you want somebody to pay for whatever they've done or not. But just remember that what you want someone else to go through, if you want them to get what they have coming, if you want them to be judged, then that's what you'll have. So if you would like to be acquitted of everything that you've done, then that's really from the heart what you should want for others. With that being said, I hope that you have a blessed and wonderful day.